All right, guys, why not start off January with the next in the series that we do at the library, finding those treasures. In case you're new here, I will spin the little dial on the internet. I think I go out of like 250 or something like that because I have to count those books on the shelves. First, I spin to see what genre, then I do the number to see where on the shelf I'm going to be. I read that book. And then after that, I go take a look at the new release shelf. And again, staying in that genre, pick whatever kind of strikes my fancy. And then I go ahead and vlog about that one. And then after that, I take those two and tell my ratings to the librarian, and he or she will tell me a book they recommend I pick up. So without further ado, let's get going. Today. Hooray! So I have been listening to The Magician as I drive to work, and it's a good little jaunt away from my home, so I'm getting quite a bit done. I want to say about 35% into it now, and I am so excited to report it is 100% giving me the Robin Hobb's world vibes. I love it. I don't know if I'll love Pug as much as I love Fitz, but I do really love Pug. So obviously this is our main character. He's an orphan. It starts off hilarious because he goes to a kind of assembly that these young boys go to when they hit a certain age where they need to start, finding jobs to apprentice in. And it's interesting because if they're not choosing to apprentice in their family's chosen path, it feels almost like the book series Divergent, because if, say, their family are people who deal with clothing and stuff like that, and seamstresses, but they want to go into alchemy or whatever, then they hope to get a person who's willing to let them apprentice with them. And if they do get selected, then they have to leave their family behind. Like, that's it. They're out. They're no longer a part of that community. And that's harsh. But I get it. If you have a passion for something, like, what do? Do you stick with something where your family's there, or do you choose something you're passionate about, even if it means losing the family? So anyway, so Pug goes and they're like, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I have no family. So basically anything but magician, because that just sounds wonky to me. So basically something happens, and we find out that Pug's got a little bit of inner magic he didn't know he had. And so somebody steps forward and is like, and you're my apprentice. And so guess what? Pug's on track to be a magician, which is hilarious to me. But going to be at the castle, and he meets the princess, and he and the princess are out, and he's kind of like guarding her or whatever. And they get attacked by some trolls. And so he's able to defend her using this inner magic that he hasn't even learned how to use or harness. And she is so blown away by it that she's now like a smitten kitten with him. And he's just like, what do I do with this? Because he's a young kid. And so, of course, there's a boy that's smitten kitten with her named Roland. So now he and Roland are pitted against each other by this princess. Anytime Pug doesn't do something or say something that makes the princess feel like she's being pursued or that she's important, she spends all her attention on Roland. And then Roland gets very haughty about it. And anytime she spends time with Pug, he gets jealous. And so the two of them are just, oh my gosh, they're hilarious. And so at this little over 30%, we just got the elves that have come to visit, the elf queen and a couple of consorts and stuff with her. And it's the first time Pug has seen the elves. And so he's like a little kid. It's so cute. The way that the author's describing, this boyhood innocence is just precious. It gives me, like I said, the Fitz vibes, and I'm loving it. And so he gets to see the elves for the first time. He's blown away by how beautiful the elf queen is. And he actually has befriended one of the people that came with her, one of her consorts. And the elf is like, so the princess, I sat by her at dinner and she tells me that you're basically like able to harness lightning and like you just ride on the, clouds. And he's like, no. And he's like, well, I heard you slew like a dozen trolls. And he's like, it was 2. And it was really honestly by accident. And the elf was just like, wow, even 2 is quite a bit for somebody who's not trained. And I don't know as much about human magic as I do elf magic, but Pug, I think there's something there. So I'm intrigued. I'm in it. I'm having a great time with it. The pacing's really good. The storytelling's really good. I'm loving the master-apprentice relationship. There's a couple of other things that have happened I don't want to say because they're minor spoilers. But yeah, this is so good. This is so fun, and so far, highly recommend. I finished Magician, and oh my gosh, it so gives me those vibes. We had politics involved. We had a war start. We had some relationships changing. I don't want to give too much away. Yeah, it's not as good as Robin Hobb's World to me, but that could just be because I have a soft spot now, of course, for Fitz and that world. But oh my gosh, you guys, it did not let me down. 5 stars, so good. I found my new addiction to replace the Realm of the Elderlings, and I'm excited to get on book 2 as soon as I can. But for this vlog, I need to now go to the library after work and see what's on the new release shelf. I am getting ready to go into work, but I wanted to update you first. I did go to the library and I saw on the new shelf one I am super excited for, and that of course is Empire of the Dawn, the 3rd book in this Empire of the Vampire series. Definitely one of the 26 and 2026 I wanted to read, and I love Jay Kristoff's writing style, and I love this series so much. And so I know in this 3rd book, we're going to continue following Gabrielle de Leon, who again has powers to help hunt down and kill vampires. The downside is these powers for this brotherhood that have them slowly turns them into monsters. So they try to do what they can as quick as possible and then rely on their brothers to kill them at the end before they become a vampire and monster themselves. But meanwhile, he has been captured in book 1 and is telling his story to a historian of the vampire families, a kind of a interview of the vampire style. So it's been very interesting. It's mostly set in flashback, but it's been interesting. And they have like a twist in there that has to do with the Holy Grail and stuff. So I don't want to give anything away. But in this 3rd book, I knew kind of what to expect because I was blessed in NetGalley to get the sampler, which only gave you the first 200 pages, and it's like a 800-page book. But I knew we were going to continue following Gabrielle de Leon's story, and I wasn't surprised starting out that that's what we've gotten so far. And so I'm just kind of recapping to refresh my memory before starting on the new stuff, and I'm having a good time. All right, so I have been having quite the ride so far in my book. I am to chapter 13, which is around 275 pages, and I'm not even halfway, guys. Not even halfway. He writes monster books, like monstrous size, monstrous content. I will say though, once again, we are presented with some really gorgeous art. I know it's like super creepy, but like, look at that, you guys. I mean, there is some gorgeous, gorgeous art in here. And it just, yeah, like, I don't know how to say stuff without it being some kind of a spoiler for you, but needless to say, we're getting a lot of background stuff that we didn't have before. I think I mentioned that in my last update. And it's really great because you have a main character who is being trained by another main character, and part of the training is you develop the abilities to do X, and I'll give you a little bit of my backstory. And that's just enough incentive to really make this person want to work really hard. I wish I could tell you names, but if I even hinted too much at it, it would I think potentially be a spoiler for book 2. So I'm not going to say that. But just suffice to say that not only were we carrying on with where we left off in book 2, but having this flashback, normally I'm annoyed by that, but I'm not in this instance. It's really, really adding a richness to this character that I didn't have before. I really wasn't as invested in this character before. I was all about Gabriel de Leon, and that was all for me. But I gotta say, getting the background, and in fact, since you've got the cover here, I'll just go ahead and, yeah. Because if you know, you know. And so now I'm way more in it. And yeah, these two are working together. And it's just really, it's really good. I'm having such a good time with this. I can't even. And I laugh and then I cry and then I'm mad. And I am just feeling like all of the feelings because of this book. And again, I'm not even halfway. I am 60% into it now, just a bit over half. And we're into book 4 of the story. And something major just happened. Lots of something majors actually just happened. Heart-wrenching things just happened. But in particular, something happened to Gabriel de Leon, our main character, who this entire time has been doing the interview with the vampire feels by giving the story of the past, how he got to this moment with the historian, the vampire historian. And something happened. All right, so I finished it, and sadly, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I know, don't come at me, guys. You know, I love Jay Kristoff's writing so incredibly much. I mean, it is just to die for. I love the worlds that he builds. I love the way he words everything. I love the characters. I love their banter. I love the high stakes. I love the world building that feels so real because he's so good at describing it. So why, you ask, would I give the final book in this series a 4-star? Here's why. I don't know if it was the author's reluctance to end it, and I get it. Beloved world, beloved characters, you don't want it to end, and I don't know if that's why, or if he just legit thought everything he put in here was 100% needed. But there was about 200 to 250 pages that could have easily been taken out of this that would not have taken away from the story at all for me and would have actually helped the pacing a lot. It got to where it was dragging on so much in places that I started skimming the page because I was so bored. I really care about the stakes and I really care about the characters, but I started getting to where I'm like, especially these minor characters, I didn't even care what happened to them anymore. I just wanted the story to end because it just went on and on and on. So it almost kind of reminded me of like Star Wars, if you've watched A New Hope, where it has the Star Destroyer flying and you're seeing a view from underneath and the ship just keeps going and 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 going. It felt like that to me. And I'm just like, why? It was so good, especially the first like 60% was so good. And then we're getting to the finish line. And again, it just felt like he was reluctant to finish and he just didn't want to stop it. So he dragged it out big time until the very end. And it just, because of that, it drops a star for me. I'm sorry. I have to be honest. No matter how much I love the author, no matter how much I love the story, no matter how much I love the characters, if at the end of the day, it did not feel like a 5-star ride for me, for whatever reason, I cannot in good conscience give it a 5-star. I just can't. I can't even give it a 4.5 because I'm trying half stars this year, because the first 200 pages when I got that as an arc was definitely a 4.5. The first 60% of this book was 5-star. And then it goes down a little to 4.5 star. But then he keeps dragging it out, especially with these minor side character stories. And because I got to the point where I'm skimming, I have never given something a 5-star that I had to skim to get through. So
I could not in good conscience for myself give it 5, but definitely a high 4. Definitely 5-star for the first book, 4.5 for the second book, 4 stars for the third, but the quality's not gone down. It's just too verbose. The quality, I cannot emphasize enough, is still there. So if you don't mind a long-winded story like this video is turning out to be, then this will not disappoint, and it still holds up, and I hope that you love it. But now it's time to go see with what I thought of Drawn Off the Shelves and what I thought about this new release. Let's see what the librarian recommends I read next. Well, yay! I am so glad because the librarian actually asked if there was any that were fantasy that I have been dying to pick up, but by a lesser known author. They're trying to promote that, which I love that about my library, by the way. And I said, actually, there's an Apolycon author that I got a book personalized to myself for. The cover looks exquisite. I've always wanted to read it. And in fact, some friends of mine that I made at Apolycon also want to read it. So I've been meaning to kind of pick that one up. And so she said that's the one she recommends. And so I am picking up Exquisite Ruin, which I cannot wait. It's got the really pretty edges because it takes place in a labyrinth. We have Sadir, I think her name is, that wakes up inside of this labyrinth next to a minotaur, of course, because what's a labyrinth without one? Named Desra. And essentially she's lost her memory. She doesn't know why she's there. She doesn't really know who this minotaur guy is. But it seems like he kind of has an idea of what's going on, and he's just kind of like supposed to help her through it, I think, or something. I don't know. But of course there's going to be romance, so there's probably going to be sparks between the two, and it should be an exciting ride. I am about halfway now into Exquisite Ruin, and I'm having a good time. Who knew labyrinths did it for me? But no, it's really, really kind of strange. We're getting some background on Sadir now, and it seems like she's maybe not a nice person before she lost her memories. Isn't that how it always works? And she and, I'm going to always forget his name, because of the D, Desra, definitely have a past. And fair warning on trigger warnings and stuff. They both kind of like pain, if you know what I mean. So that part's a little not for me, but I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum. But it's interesting because pain is also how she triggers her abilities, because she's a witch. And so she's able to use her powers that way. And he's got some strange magical properties and abilities as well. Every once in a while, she gets a glimpse into a memory from before, and it kind of fills in the gaps a little bit. And so now at this point, at the halfway point, we also have an adorable little baby chimera that is hanging around. I think she named it Pogly or something like that. It's so stinking cute. Or Pugly. But yeah, so it's interesting. I'm invested. I'm interested in seeing how this turns out. I could see how maybe this isn't for everyone though, but I'm glad I have a pretty copy of it and my name in it, and I'm having a good time. All right, I finished it, and I forgot I have art print too that I got at the convention. But I did finish it. I am giving it 4 stars. And so, yeah, there's the personalization, which I love. I thought it was really good. I thought the banter was really good. I thought the relationship was, dare I call it, sweet. I know there's moments that people would disagree with that, but I liked it. Now, towards the ending, just so you know, fair warning, it does get kind of convoluted and a little confusing. And that's why it's 4, not 4.5 or 5. But it's a lot better than the last 3.5 I gave. So I didn't want to go down that low either. So for me, it's a solid 4-star. And if you like stories that have to do with labyrinths, mazes, things like that, kind of a reluctant ally to lover, cute little chimera pets, strange memory gaps and revelations and things like that, maybe even a little slice of gods and half gods. If you're into that kind of thing, and you don't mind being confused at parts and you're just kind of happy to be along for the ride, this might be for you. So I recommend it and I had a good time. So I think this was a success for vlogs for the library. Again, this is the 6th one, and so far, so good, guys, even when there's been a couple of flops. But for this particular one, every single one was a winner for me and I had a good time. So I'm very happy to start the year off with that. Let me know down below the last library treasure that you found, and I'll see you guys next time.